Hi, this is Finance and Investing Just Joey style, and that's not what I want to do. Looking at my account, it's back down to the 40s, which sucks. Um, but that's why I'm revamping my trading account. And some people might not think that this is a viable plan, but I really do. I have BMNR options and MSTR options. Those are my two big plays for roughly the next 12 months. They were being played, well, the MST ones were being played for Q4 into the early year. I am revamping some of those. And then my BMNR options, I believe they're going to be worth $15,000 a piece, and they're all worth about $3,000 a piece currently. Um, yes, so I think they're going to 5x. These are 2027, January 2027 expirations and January 2028 expirations. So I've got plenty of time on these. I'm actually not worried about these options in any manner, yes, at all. Yes, I understand. So what I'm looking at is BM&R being about $200 a share. So what I want to look, oh, that's not what I want to look at. That's the option, not the gizmo. It's okay. There's some people outside, so he's barking a little bit. Yeah, BM&R is at $50 a share right now. And I'm going to look at the chart real quick. During its hype of its IPO, it went from $4 to like 130. It might even gone up higher. I don't know what the candle was. I can look at it in here. Actually, I think it'll tell me exactly where it went to. Yeah, it went to a high of $161. So this thing's been almost to $200 already. And this chart actually looks pretty decent, even though it's bearish right now. The daily, if we look at this, we calmed down. We came down into the 30s basically, and found support. Very, very low 20s, I think. Actually, I don't think it ever hit the 20s. No, it never hit the $20. On the way up, obviously it did, but it never hit $20. So it found a support in 30. So we got about $20 a share downside potential from what I see at the worst. Now, obviously, you can come below there, but this is where we got support now. And we've been kind of, nice hype, stair step, hype, stair step. I mean, we've basically been doing higher highs and higher lows since its IPO. Now, it's not a lot of data to go off of, so I'm not going to play too much on the chart. But this move, the explosive moves, is what I'm playing here. This is Ethereum. This is BM&R. This is a treasury company. They already own, I think, almost 3% of the supply, or a little over. I can't remember off the top of my head how many Ethereum tokens they have, but I listened to an extremely informative video. It's this one. Yes. Ethereum's big moment with Tom Lee. This is ARK Invest. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch this. It's an hour long and it's well worth it. There are some things that are a little technical in there. You can probably list it on somewhere between 1 to 1.25 speed and still understand it. You might have to pause it because there's some pretty intelligent things. It's Kathy Wood. This guy, I can't remember who he is. He works for Kathy Wood. And then Tom Lee. Just absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend that you go watch that video. I had my trading guy send it to me, Shades. Anyhow, but yeah, if this thing can explode from here to here, obviously we're not going to get a $4 price tag. But on hype, we can go from $4 to $160 from January 27th, or I'm sorry, June 27th to July 3rd. That's like a week. That's incredible. That's an insane move for a week. So you're telling me that it can't 4x to pretty much the same price target, just a little above it. Now, I know that was the tall part of the candle. That's where it opened. That's where it freaking closed. That's a huge day. That's a huge day. Um, so to play a 4x during a hype cycle, when we get Clarity Act, Ethereum's price moving, I think the next year is going to be great for crypto. So that's why I'm playing this. Actually, these are out till 2027 and 2028. So I have a year and a half and 2.5 years for these to play out. It's like half and half. I should have put them all as 2028, but I didn't at first. Anyhow, back to my thesis. These DATs are going to be insane. They're going to watch the video. Watch the video. BMNR is definitely where you want to put some money long term. I highly recommend the 2028 options. You get 2.5 years to figure out where this is going to go. And it's about $3,000 right now at the money. Now, my MSTR options. They've been getting absolutely obliterated. I've lost almost everything on them. And yeah, this one I rolled down. This was a $560 option. So I was able to roll it down 200 in strike price, which is incredible. So I don't need this stock to go anywhere near as high to be profitable again. But I don't know how big this move is going to be by January. So I put a limit order to roll this. And yes, I sold 10 shares of MSTR, which is going to cover this roll. Because I do believe that I am right on this. And I'm going to show you the BMNR chart here in a minute to see the move and my price targets on it. I think over the course of a year from now, because I'm going to add 335 days to this option. And my price targets on MSTR to sell these options are somewhere between $600 and $800 a share. And it's currently at 300. And yes, I know that's a 2 to 3 times on what it is, but I'll show you why I think that move isn't going to be a problem. So that's what I'm doing with this option. I've decided to spend the extra money to take it out 9 more months. And yes, that'll make this option worth, I have about $8,000 in it, 8,500, somewhere around there in total. But 200 strike prices down and another year out. That's how you manage this trade. Now, obviously, it would have been better to manage it before MSTR went down and manage the charts on MSTR instead of having to manage the trade, because I should have opened it up at a different time anyhow. But now I'm where I am because I'm getting more diligent in my account. I did not mean to click on that. I have a phone call with a client here in 20 minutes, so I'm finishing this video up real quick. These two options I am currently considering. No, I have decided to hold them until late November, early December, because if the government shutdown hasn't, if the government shutdown hasn't stopped getting into late November, we're probably heading way down anyhow. And I'm still going to leave this open as a buffer for my account. Anyhow. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hold these till late November, early December to see where we are in the economy, to see where we are in a cycle, to see if Clarity Act is going to be coming out. Because if it does, these do have a possibility of having a heck of a pop early on. It might run down. I don't see January being as explosive as it was because of the shutdown. I think it's going to be entering into more Q1, potentially into Q2. So I don't think Q4 is going to be where our move is, or at least not the full move in crypto. It's going to be volatile too. That's why I'm going to set some limit orders. This one, I could roll it out to September, but I think this is gonna catch the move when I think it's gonna come anyhow, and yeah, it's getting beat too, it's down pretty good. But like I said, MSTR does what it does, what I think it's gonna do. These options are gonna play out very well, and that's my option positions, except for the Briomer spreads. I tapped 2 of them. It was a nightmare in this account because the way that Robinhood does spreads, 2-hour conversation just to figure out they do first in, first out, and they don't sell. I'll explain it later. I'll explain it later. I'm just frustrated, pissed off that took 2 hours to just figure out something very simple. Anyhow, we'll talk about that later. I'm frustrated. But yeah, those are pretty much my options. The spreads are already set. If I spread basically has to get to 100. If I think the stocks get to 200, these spreads are going to be fine. I might even set the limit order on the spreads up a little bit higher, but they're far out. It depends. I don't know. We'll see. I might change these, but I'm okay making 4 grand on those spreads because they only cost me about a grand each, and it looks like I'm going to make 6 if BMNR goes up. But I want to show you the explosive move potential on MSTR. Actually, this is not the screen that I need to do it on. I'm going to do it in the other one, but we'll show it here. So right here, you're not going to see the entire move. But anyhow, MSTR was about $114 a share. And then it went to, this says 420. That's not correct. So I'm going to pull this up. This is BMNR. So I'll zoom in a little bit for this. Maybe not quite that much. Jeez, it's sensitive. Okay, so this was its low. So if we even just take them, actually that wasn't even its low. Was it its low? Yeah. So before this move, I mean, obviously we were lower, but this was its low leading up into here, and it bounced off of this several times. Ran up, ran up, ran up. And then when it finally broke this area, it freaking took off. Okay. Oops, too far. Like I said, this is kind of sensitive. Should plug my mouse in. Daggone it. Anyhow, doesn't matter. I don't need to be that close. The low of this was somewhere around 160 bucks. I'm sorry, not 160. I'm looking at my right side of my screen. Up at the top here, about $113 a share on that low. Okay. Even if you take from the high from the day, about 125. This thing ran from $120 a share on September 6th all the way to 500 and some dollars a share. That move was definitely bigger than that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the high. So it's going to be right here. $543 a share. That's incredible. And you will see that it opened there. It opened higher than it closed the day before and then fell. I don't know how quickly this fell, but that fell fast. So that's something you're going to need to sell. But anyhow, that's a big move. From 125 to over $540. Wow. That's over a 4x. And this company was sizable here. So we ran 4x This was hype cycle. This was presidency. This is when I think Trump was looking like he was going to win the election. This was leading up to the election. And then, yeah, then when we found out who was going to win for sure, basically, yeah, that was really good for crypto. MSTR is a fundamentally stronger company. It's already reported its best quarter. It's going to report an even better quarter at the end of this quarter because of Bitcoin's closing price and about a $5 billion gain since then. It's sitting at basically $300 a share, 290, something like that. This is saying 289. Double. So a double from here is not absurd in a year. If it quadrupled, then in 2 months, it can double in a year. September next year. We've got Clarity Act coming out. That'll definitely be out before September next year. They're already looking at it still potentially being out before the end of this year. The SAB 122 accounting to show that what they're actually making on their Bitcoin holdings, even though they haven't sold. That's huge. That's why their quarter was so big. That's why this next quarter earnings is going to be so big. And their Bitcoin stack a year ago was somewhere around 250 to 300. They have over 640,000 Bitcoin now. So they have more than double the amount of Bitcoin that they did then. And they're a fundamentally stronger company with the products that they have and the money that they're bringing in. So they're going to acquire more and more Bitcoin leading up to it. There's a very small chance that the explosive move of crypto coming into mainstream, it not being very well. Now, that doesn't mean that MSTR has to do well. It doesn't. But I think Bitcoin's going to do well, and it usually does if Bitcoin starts to rocket. But this is it's my risk play, and I believe that they're going to work out very well. And my options will be worth a significant amount of money at over 600 a share, and they'll be worth almost double what they are at 600 if it makes it to $800 a share. And 600 to 800 is a 33% move. So if it moves from 600 to 800, that's just a 33% move. My options will be worth almost 100% more on a 33% move. So I would love to sell closer to 800 a share on my options, but will it get there? There's a lot of factors. I think 600 is definitely safe, and I'll play it by ear. So I think somewhere between 650 and 700 is actually my sell point. And that's still a significant amount for those options. And if it runs more, it runs more. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, we'll see if the hype cycle is still there. Maybe I'll get back into one. We'll see. But that's what I want to do. And that's my thesis on why I believe that it's going to do it. The explosive hype cycle in crypto, I think it's going to blow people's freaking mind. And I think that BMNR and MSTR over the next roughly 12 months are going to benefit drastically, greatly from what's coming for crypto. So this is Finance and Investing Just Joey style. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm going to be managing my account. And yeah, these are the plays that I'm doing. This is where I'm at, and I'm building up long-term shares. These shares were bought on margin anyhow, those 10 that I sold. So I did that to roll the option. But yeah, I don't sell the long-term shares, and I'm already generating income from here. And then if both of these options in the next 12 months play out roughly the way that I want them to, if BMNR during a hype cycle hits 200 and MSTR hits 650, Now I even figured it at 600, I believe. Um, my account, after I pay all the taxes and the tithe, which is going to be 40% of anything that I make, calculating my account would be valued somewhere around $120 to $140 on a $45,000 account. And like I said, that's after I take 40% of the gains out and pay the taxes and the tithe. So that's what I'm looking for. And then once we get there, then my game plan changes. Not playing hype. I'm going to wheel some stuff. I'm going to use the proper part of my margin. So I've got some, but these are the two big plays because the fundamentals are there. So, like I said, this is finance and investing just Joey style. That's what I'm looking at to do. And yeah, then the account will change from there. Go watch that video.